Are you trying to build the best team in Madden? Well, head on over to instantmuttcoins.com to avoid the packs, save some racks. Link is in the description below. Use code CC now for 20% off. Hey, what is going on, Madden family? We are here to talk about the 50, and we are all getting a free card. Hopefully you're getting a free card next week if you've been playing your solos, and I hope you have been. If you haven't, or if you happen to miss a week, that sucks, and I apologize. There's not really any makeups for it as far as I've seen. At least maybe they will throw some bone at some point, but it does appear that way. So going into this, we're gonna have to set a couple things up for who we think we should be picking for it. Now, maybe you're a money spent team or a no money spent team. It's all really gonna depend, but we are still hosting the weekly giveaway for a gift card. Comment down below, Madden family. Make sure you like the video, all that sort of stuff, and let's get into it. Okay, so each week there's been solos for the 50, right? Weekly 50, right? Bam, right here. We see the milestones coming up. At 52 you get a nat stacked player from weeks 1 through 7. Now let's just say this: we don't know if this is a gigantic fantasy pack of every card, or it's one card, or it's a selection of 3 or 5 or whatever it could be. If obviously it's just one single card, there's not much we can do. If there is a selection here, this is where this video is going to sort of take precedence on it. So make sure you play your solos, tier 7 and tier 8. Make sure you play them this week, okay? Make sure you get there, you get it done. Now, there are two ways to really think about it. Like I said, are you a money spent player or you're no money spent player? If you're no money spent player, obviously you want to take the player who's going to benefit you the most, right? Money spent, similar sort of idea, but there's ways to think about it here. So we're going to show you guys the players. Now, we know we are going to get new sets of players on Friday, which should be included in there. Okay, they should be. Fingers crossed that they should be included potentially. Hopefully they're higher overall as well. Maybe they're 93 overall. So maybe those are the cards that you just want to pick. It's a new card, highest overall. But keep in mind, when you're getting this nat card, you are not going to have the power up for it. So you're still going to, if you were to pick, let's say, for example, it's Randy Moss, right? Randy Moss comes out on Friday. You can pick him, but his power up is then going to be really, really expensive. So you're not going to really get the free card to power it all the way up. If you don't care about powering up cards, and some of this stuff you shouldn't, that's okay. Regardless then, if you're not picking one of those brand new cards, you're probably going to be picking something a little more recent, right? And we know that we are a couple weeks away from the next Wildcard Wednesday, when we could do with power-ups, and hopefully do the same thing where the power-up prices of all the 50 cards are going to come down quite a bit. But we are weeks away from that. Now, I'm going to first off tell you what my plan is. Unless there's a really, really good card that comes out next Friday, my plan is simply to take the most coins possible. And what I mean by that is, me personally, I have a lot of these cards, right? So I would have my selection and pick the card which is going to net me the most coins back in my bank. In that case, it's probably Julio Jones. At this point, he's the most expensive card, simply because his power-up already existed, right? So his power-up is cheap, and his card is more expensive. So everything sort of levels out. Otherwise, everything stays about the same. And that makes sense for me, right? I'm going to have cards. I'm going to have players. I'm going to be ready to do those sets next week. On this account, I want to make as many coins back as I can. It makes sense to me. Now, if you're in the boat where, well, I would like to add a new card, right? You could start adding new cards that have a cheaper power-up. And we're talking about some of these early ones right here, right? Up until the Brett Favre set in week 3, these are cards which their power-ups were out in that power-up set, right? So you could get yourself a DRC, and if this is what you want to do, if you want to take one of the cards from week 1 through 3, I would probably go check out that power up now and that price, and see if that's a price that you would want to pay for it. Okay, because what may happen is, if this is not a gigantic fantasy pack, and you're forced to pick some cards, these old power-ups, they may go up in price. Now, I'm not saying it's an investing tip or anything like that. I'm not saying I'm going to be investing in it, but I do think that is a potential thing that could happen, right? Especially for someone like DRC or Steve Hutchinson. Maybe not now that John Hannah's out, TaylorMade, Shazier, cards like this, which were very wanted, at least at the time, right? Now, if you are a no money spent, you obviously, like I said, take the best player that's going to help your team out, or with the coins. It really depends which way you go. Now, for me personally, on my no money spent team, I have a couple 50 cards, right? Now, I could take a couple 100,000 coins, or I could take a brand new upgrade. And I think the brand new upgrade would be really helpful for me. But over there, if I get the chance to, say, take TaylorMade's and sell my TaylorMade's for 250,000 coins, I'm probably going to do that and pocket those coins and wait for the market crash to happen a little more as we come up on Blitz near the end of November. That makes a lot of sense to me. But if we're going to go through the cards that are out that we know of right now, there's obviously a couple that I really just wouldn't recommend unless you're a theme team sort of guy. Julio Jones and Culpepper, both really good cards, but both could be replaced really at any time. Wide receivers come out a lot, quarterbacks come out a lot. You see what I'm saying here with those, right? Javon Curse, defensive end. We keep getting more defensive ends. We got Robert Mathis, who is basically the same guy. Maybe you want to lock up an offensive tackle position right here with Orlando Pace or Steve Hutchinson or Walter Jones. Running back, again, dime a dozen. We've got LT, we got Reggie Bush in here. You know someone like a Barry Sanders is going to be coming. We know that there's probably a Walter Payton and stuff around the corner, right? When we look at the cornerbacks here, Antonio Cromartie and DRC, both amazing cornerbacks. When chemmed up, they go to like 95, 96 overall. They kind of play out of their mind, honestly. Really, really good choices if you're looking to add a corner, personally, in my opinion. Same thing with Vernon Davis. He's got a little bit of special factor to him, being a really, really fast tight end. Now, he doesn't hit all the thresholds that we need on an all-pro mode, such as weekend league or head-to-head seasons, but he's a really, really good card. I really like him. Patrick Willis, again, linebackers we get a lot. You got Sam Mills, there's Seau's got a card. Ray Lewis is probably going to be coming out. Maybe even an Anthony Barr in the 50 at some point. Linebackers, not the best here. DRC, cool, right? I like DRC. This card plays great. Hutch, again, maybe you want to shore up an offensive line position. Not the most practical thing to do in the world, but again, you could do it. Favre already sort of been surpassed at quarterback, okay? I'm probably staying away from the quarterbacks personally. Mays is always going to be a top tier card. This card that he has right now is going to be good for a while. Whenever he gets his next upgrade, it will again be the best card on defense. Okay, so Mays is a great card to have. I really like the idea of having a Nat Mays on my team because he's someone who I can always use. Shazier, again, great linebacker. They come out a lot. Vincent Jackson. Don't know a lot of people that have actually used this card. Those who I do, they really like it. But again, he's a big wide receiver, a little slow. It is what it is. And then we get this bunch of cards from the start. And then these are more like the cards who may get their upgrades quicker as well. So you may not get as many coins back or necessarily be getting a top tier starter if you pick one of these cards. But you are likely to get an upgrade for these cards sooner than later. Now, there's a couple in here that really stand out. Reggie Bush is a top tier running back in this game. Head and shoulders above because of his receiving back archetype. That is the best archetype for running backs in the game, in my opinion. Calico is still a top tier receiver. Jimmy Graham, nothing overly special. Again, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, meh. Derek Brooks, linebacker, meh. Namdi, or Namdi, I guess his name really is. I always want to call him Namdi, but it's Namdi. Not the top corner I'd be picking. And then Dawkins, while a staple of Mutt for years and years and years, forever it seems, and still a card that it plays on my team currently, he's a little slow. He's getting a little outdated, honestly. He's basically one more new card coming away from from being pretty out there. His speed is really, really low. Okay, so going with all that, like I said, on this account, if I have a choice, I'm probably going to pick Julio Jones, right? That's probably where my head is going to be at. We do have a bunch of these cards, a bunch of them, okay? But again, I think to me that makes the most sense. Like I said, on my no money spin account, if at the time where I complete the solos, I can sell a current card and pick a card that I have and get 200-300k, I'm probably going to go that way. If the cards come down in price a lot and the value drops because people are fire selling, I may just pick out the best card who's going to help me in the long term, right? It just makes a lot of sense. So what you want to do and go through this beforehand, be prepared for Friday so that when the decision comes, you can make the decision really, really quickly, okay? So if we're going to look at the 50 here now and just look at some of the prices of these cards, and we want to go back and I want to look at the power-ups for those initial cards that really came out as well. So we see here Hainsworth, he's pretty cheap. Favre, he's pretty cheap. Again, not the best cards. Hutch, Favre's still pretty good actually. But we've got these cards right here. Even Culpepper sitting around 300k. Curse is over 300. Tomlinson is really expensive. Vernon Davis is expensive too right now. Even Orlando Pace is expensive. He's 400,000 coins. And I do have him on my no money spent. I might actually have to go sell him for 400k. But here's what I mean. Julio is 500. He is the most expensive card as it stands right now. Tomlinson, 400k. Okay, all right. We see that. Willis, 400k. These cards, as they go through their week's progression, normally will go up in price just a little bit. But let's look at the power-ups of some of these cards now that had come out before. Okay, that's what we really want to see. So we're going to check out power-ups. Again, we'll look at like Reggie Bush, Taylor Mays, Cromartie. Those are kind of like the big ones, in my opinion. Now, when these solos came out for Wildcard Wednesday, they actually pushed these prices down to about 40,000 coins. We see there's still about 60k. A lot of people might be needing a Reggie Bush. 60k, that could go up. It really could go up. Is it scary to think that it could go up? I don't think so. No. What, did I not hit this button? I'm pretty sure I hit the button. Cromartie here. DRC is at 72,000. Antonio's at 250. Big difference. Big difference, right? I'm not saying go invest in these cards. I'm saying that if you want one of them, you may want to prepare. That is all I'm saying, because again, there's probably not a lot of Taylor Mays power-ups out there. I mean, yeah, there's 20 on the block, but how many people just have a Taylor Mays power-up in their binder? A 70k card that they're just holding on to. It's probably not a lot. And if it's not a free choice, if it's only a pack of 3 or 5 and people start getting Mays, it's not going to take very many Mays to raise the price. Okay, get it, got it, good. That's our free 50 conversation. I'm excited for it. We've been waiting a long time. It's much better than this free legend stuff that we were getting, which I feel like they should totally overhaul by the time we get it. But whatever. I love you guys. Take care. Be great. I'm out. Peace.